Hello friends, welcome to my channel .NET Tech Gyan. Today we'll discuss about C#8 using declaration. To demonstrate this, I've written a small program in as a console application in .NET Core. So what this program does is basically it creates a list of string. It adds string values to it. A simple string value, three values have been added, and then it invokes a method which writes to a file. This method basically it uses the stream writer. It creates a file object and it writes to the file. Now over here, before moving on to the C#8 feature of using declaration, let's understand the classic way of doing it. So the classic way, we were using a using statement. We were defining a variable, and the variable scope was limited to this particular curly braces of the using keyword. So once the code um, scope comes out of this curly braces, the file variable will be automatically, or the compiler disposes this object, the file object. Now in the new way in C#8, what's the difference? Let's understand it. So new way of using is or the using declaration is there are limited brackets, so we don't need this bracket of this bracket. Even we don't need this curly braces. So how the scope will be determined? So using the using declaration, when we declare our object, the enclosing scope is the end of this method. So once the code execution comes to the end of this method block, the variable file will be automatically disposed. This is the only difference between the classic using statement and the using declaration. Let's quickly run this program and see what. So I've created a breakpoint over here, and now I'm running this program, and let's see when the breakpoint hits. What's the difference? So if you see over here, there's a watcher been added. This is a file object. You see that this file object is still in scope, and once it moves out of the scope, and let's refresh this. See, the name file does not exist in the current context. That means the compiler has automatically. Very good. Now let's summarize what we have learned. In summary, variable defined with using declaration is disposed at the end of the enclosing scope. Curly braces and brackets are reduced in the code block. In the case of using statement, the classic using statement, we have control over defining the scope of the object. In the case of using declaration, its scope is automatically defined from the object's declaration statement to the end of the current code block. Using declaration keeps the variable in scope all the way to the bottom of the method. So using statement will make more sense to use because the object will be disposed of at the using statement ending brace. So for a lengthy code block, it is more sensible to use the using statement instead of using declaration. Thank you for watching. Happy coding.